The official unemployment rate is just the tip of the iceberg. And when you look past this outdated and overly strict definition, the number of people that are looking for work more than triples.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm the Senior Economist at the Australia Institute.
Hi, I'm Lilia, and I'm an Anne Cantor Fellow at the Australia Institute.
And welcome to Ask an Economist.
The RBA's interest rate decisions rely on balancing inflation and unemployment. The theory is that when unemployment is too low, workers can demand higher wages, and this could cause inflation. The problem is the official unemployment rate is based on strict and outdated definitions and significantly underestimates the actual number of Australians looking for work. When you look past the tip of the iceberg, that is the official unemployment rate, the actual number of people looking for work more than triples. So Matt, how does the ABS measure unemployment?
Well, basically they call up 26,000 households and they survey them, they ask them. And to be categorised as unemployed, you've got to have two things. Number one, you have to be actively searching for work in the previous 4 weeks. And secondly, you must be available to start work in the last week. So Lilia, what are some of the reasons why someone who wants work might not be able to fulfil those criteria?
Well, Matt, I'll give you 2 examples. So first, you might be someone with caring responsibilities for children, and you just can't find childcare in a week. So that means you wouldn't be able to start work in the reference week. A lot of women are excluded from the category on this basis. Second, you might be someone who is given up on looking for a job. You're what's called a discouraged job seeker. Even though you're interested in work and you would be able to start work during the reference week, you haven't actively looked for work in the job search period, so you would be excluded from the category on this basis. Both these types of people are pushed into a category called not in the labour force, or NILF. Let's call them the hidden unemployed.
Now, you might expect that when someone loses their job, they would move from being employed category to being unemployed. You might also expect when somebody gets a job, they move from unemployed to employed. But our research has found that most people lose their job, go from employed to not in the labour force, and most people who get a job move from not in the labour force to employed. The result of this is there's lots of unemployed people that fall into the not in the labour force category, meaning that our official measure of unemployment is not accurate. So Lilia, was this definition of unemployment always a bad definition?
So today's definition for unemployment is based on one we used about 60 years ago. Since then, the labour market has changed a lot. So 2 big changes have been, first, the entry of a lot of women into the workforce. As women have traditionally been carers of children, they often take more than 1 week to take up a job offer. Second, there's a lot more gig work, part-time work, and casual work in the economy. So workers are counted as employed if they work at least 1 hour a week. So these workers look like they're employed in the statistics, but in reality, they're often unemployed and are actually looking for more work. This means that the definition of unemployment has become inaccurate as a measure of unemployment today because it largely hasn't accounted for these changes. What are some of the problems that come from underestimating unemployment?
Well, the issue is when places like the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, use these figures, which exclude the underemployed and the hidden unemployed, to make conclusions about the tightness of the labour market. For example, Philip Lowe, the Governor of the Reserve Bank, claims that there have been the lowest unemployment in 50 years. When we look at this, it looks like workers have a lot of power to push up wages. So when we are in a period of high inflation, like we are right now, they point to the unemployment and say it's too low and they're fearing that there might be a wage price spiral. The RBA then say that we need to push unemployment up to contain the pressure on wages. A lot of this inflationary pressure actually comes from corporate profits seeking, not higher wages. This research shows that the pressure on wages is probably lower than the official figures suggest. So Lilia, if we've got problems with our unemployment, how should we measure it?
Well, if you go by the simple definition that if you're looking for a job and not working, then you're unemployed, the results are going to be much higher. If you use this definition, the unemployment rate could be as high as 12%. So while Philip Lowe and the RBA might say that unemployment is at a 50-year low, and thus are trying to increase unemployment, they need to understand that these figures are just the tip of the iceberg of people looking for work. They would do well to perhaps zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture of what's really going on.